So maybe one of the Tracys for sure you have met, but then there's another Tracy that maybe you haven't had a chance to interact with.
Well, it was a brief interaction with the first Tracy. So, yeah, hi, oh gosh, first Tracy and second Tracy just sung so wrong.
I love it. First Tracy and second Tracy. This is great. Okay, so this is okay, I'm going to put my finger in the right place. No, I didn't. Oh, one more try. Boop. There. All righty. It is not just Valentine's week. This is our Galentine. This is like going back to Sesame Street. Gal.
Tracy and Tracy one.
Galentine's Day, which came from, as far as I know, it showed up on a sitcom a number of years ago, actually. And now I've seen it even in the local news. There's a group, a nonprofit that is going to have a Galentine's gathering that having to do with empowering women. It seems to me that in the show, she had an agenda. So if I have any agenda on this show, it's that each of you promotes what you already love talking about, what the endeavors that you have poured yourself into, the products, the services, the support, whatever it is that you provide. So my agenda is to make sure that you and your positives are promoted. But first, the important question is, when you were younger, did you ever put a heart shape over the letter I in your name? Notice that I have two eyes. Definitely. That one said, I'm putting the hearts over. I think I did go through an era, but my name got shortened to Chris for years and years. And then I gave up a Czech last name and turned into a Smith, which is... but it did give me another I. And then I turned into Mary Chris Smith. And that was the new joke, is that, oh, you're so cheery. You're just such a Merry Christmas. So I just want to, my husband just verified that nearby. That's because my husband, who is D. Scott Smith, motivational listener, and my producer, he knew, we sit and listen to the radio on Saturday mornings at 8:30 here in the Central Texas area, anything from Dallas down through Waco, where we live, all the way down to Austin. Do I have that right? Yes, Dallas is north. We listen to his show, and he recently interviewed a lady named Heaven. Her first name is Heaven. Her last name is Lee. So she is Heaven Lee. So we're just continuing this name theme thing going here. And she described her unlikely path into something called Esther's Closet. Esther referring to Esther as a book in the Bible, in the Old Testament, where someone says, perhaps you have come into this position for such a time as this. In other words, you might be in the right place at the right time for something much more important than you could have ever imagined. Right. And that's the kind of power that Esther's Closet wants to give to individuals, to women who are approaching the next step in their life. They need to look the part of a person going into an interview who has something to that is going to catch the eye of the people who are deciding, does this person fit? Do they have something to add? Do they have a perspective that we need here? And they get all sorts of other support. And they're the ones that are having a Galentine's gathering in person, which just totally makes sense, because their agenda is you you're going to have a mock interview. We're going to go through your resume with you. We're going to talk about your skills and your, what we see in you, and we're going to be realistic about it. That might be clothing for someone else, but with your job interests, etc., this is probably the first impression that you want to make, and we want to tell you how good you look, all that good stuff. So anyway, so GALentine's Day, we've got that figured out. Hearts over eyes. I think I went through an era where I did put hearts over my eyes in my name, and so we may as well get to my agenda for gathering you here today for GALentine's Day, and that is really to get to know you and what you love to talk about, what you're excited about, what you've pursued or discovered or identified, or that you found out people need this. Someone ought to, wait a minute, I am someone. I'll do it. Well, I'm gonna swing around. Surprise! It's gonna be Tracy Lamb first. All righty. So is Lamb your last name? Is it your stage name? Is it your name of choice? Is it the one that you grew up with? Because I had a friend in grade school whose last name was Lamb. I think his first name was Mark. And and you're like, Lamb spelled how? Like, Mary had a little. That's right.
Exactly what it is. The one I was born with.
There you
go. So yes, I've heard all of the Mary had a little lamb chops. I mean, everything you can possibly imagine. We heard, me and my brother and my sister all heard growing up. So yes, it's not a stage name. It's the real thing. And yeah, whenever anybody says Lamb, how is that spelled? It's like Mary had a little, and then they get it.
Instantly.
But yeah, so that's that. I currently work for a company called Odessa Connect. I formerly had my own company. I was a CEO and founder of a company called Caregiving Worldwide. My background is with hospice. I worked with hospice for 13 years, and it let me know that caregivers, people who age at home, all the different challenges they have of finding resources to help them. And then just in the last 4 years, I personally have become a caregiver, and I took care of my dad until my dad passed at the beginning of 21. And then my mom just passed 2 weeks ago. And so I took care of my mom too. So, I always kind of say, you can talk the talk of caregiving, but until you've walked the walk of caregiving, it's completely different. It's very, very different once you actually get in it, and you have to live it 24/7. And you don't realize how many resources you really need until you really get in it. And then that's when you start realizing, oh man. And I was very, very blessed. I knew about a lot of these resources, so I was able to kind of tap into a lot of that stuff. But I will tell you, so about Odessa Connect. But Odessa Connect is a company that actually reached out to me. I never even knew they existed. I had never heard of them. I had no idea what they did. And thank you so much, Joe. And they contacted me because I had put out, after I closed my business, I had to decide whether to keep taking care of my mom because her care was becoming much more challenging because she was declining even further, or to keep my business open. Because as most people know, when you own your own business, it's a 24/7 thing. You don't get to just say, okay, it's the weekend and I'm going to take the weekend off, or you don't get to say it's 5 o'clock and I'm going to stop. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. So I really had to kind of decide between mom and the business, and it was no choice. I was obviously going to continue to take care of my mom. So I shut my business down. So I really didn't know what to put on my LinkedIn profile other than that I was a Christian and that I was a caregiver. And that was pretty much like, well, this is my life. This is what I do. And Odessa Connect reached out to me, a guy by the name of Bobby Brooks. And he said that they had this product and they were considering going into possibly churches. And so would I be willing to have a conversation with him? And I said, well, if you're wanting to talk Christianity and caregiving, I can do that. I can do that all day long. So we ended up having a conversation. And once I found out what their product did, I just was like amazed. And I said, and he said, well, I had all these different ideas about what they could do with it because of my background. And so he put me on the phone on a Zoom scheduled call with the CEO and founder, Todd Smith. And so Todd and I ended up having a conversation. And by the end of the conversation, Todd said, I think we need to offer you a job because you know so much about this market and you know so many different ideas about this particular product. And so that's how I started working for them. I mean, it was literally, I feel like it was just God-led because it fell in my lap. I had no idea of who they were. What they do, which I think is kind of amazing because there's really no other product I think that's out there like this, is they have created a platform that basically turns any TV on the planet into a two-way communication tool. And so it doesn't matter what TV you have. It doesn't matter if you have cable or Roku or a smart TV or if you have satellite, or it doesn't matter. Whatever you have, you get a tiny little box that will go right next to your TV. Super easy to install. I installed it, which it's easy. They have a patented remote, which basically becomes your universal remote. And the remote only has 11 buttons on it. So the buttons are really big and they're color coordinated, and it's very, very simple and easy to use. And they did that because they specifically designed the whole platform for seniors and for the disabled community. And so there is no, my mom, before we got this product in my house, she would always hit the input button, where the HDMI, and it would go straight to fuzzy. And if I wasn't at the house, she would call me and she'd be like, Trace, the TV's messed up again. And so we started calling that button the no button. I would be like, Mom, no, do not touch this button, okay? Because it's going to mess up the TV. And so it was hilarious when we first got the Odessa, and I was showing her the remote. She goes, oh, there's no button. And I'm like, you're right, there's not. And there's a reason for that. I know, it was great. So the beautiful thing about it is this. First of all, it's HIPAA compliant. So you can do telehealth visits. The senior can do a telehealth visit with their doctor on the TV. It basically turns your TV into a giant iPad. So they can game on there. They can do a video conference call with them. They literally push one button and they're connected. It'll come across. There's a caregiver app. So like I was responsible for the caregiver app. And so I would send out invitations to whoever I wanted to be able to call my mom on the TV. So I protected it like that. So there's no phishing calls. There's no spam. There's no nothing. There's like a firewall against that. So if somebody didn't get an invitation from me, then they were not going to be calling my mom. And then the second part of that is that I would hit on the caregiver app. I would just say video call mom. And she could be in the middle of watching a TV show. And all of a sudden it would come across on her TV screen, video call from Tracy. And she would just hit OK on the remote. And she was immediately connected by video and audio. And she could just sit on the couch and just say, hey, Trace, I miss you. Because I've been traveling some, and I called her from Nashville and everything. And it's great because I could see her visually and I could see that she was doing OK. So from the caregiver perspective, it can give you great peace of mind. The other great thing is that honestly, like literally you could do, if your mom lived in Seattle and you live in Florida, you could literally they could see Christmas on the TV rather than on an iPad. They could actually see it on the TV screen. I mean, it's really, really awesome. We have tons of healthcare providers now that are using it. They love it because it makes it much easier for them. It makes it easier for them to be able to see their patients without the patient sometimes having to go into the office. I know my mom towards the end, my mom didn't like to go to the office. It was too hard for her to get up, to get dressed, and to go. Same thing with my dad. He could have used it with the VA, and done his VA visits at home. So, I mean, it really, really helps a lot with all of that. And then it has gaming on it. You can send photos to it. So, when you're wanting to send photos of the family vacation and you want grandma to see the family vacation, you can send it to the TV so she sees them in full color. I mean, you can send messages, like reminder messages, like, Mom, remember to take your medication this morning at 9:00, So, I mean, it literally is like turning the TV into a giant iPad, but and it's something that they're comfortable with. It's something that is easy for them to use. The remote is easy for them to understand. And like I say, as the caregiver, it makes it to where you get the peace of mind. So that's who I work for, and that's what we do. And I love it.
This is marvelous. I'm definitely going to acknowledge Joni H.,
Yes.
who immediately reached out to you with her heart.
Yes.
Joni, I'm going to tell you, I sent a message to Tracy right away. She was kind enough to share that her mom had passed. Yeah. And I'm just like, you are so not obligated. And you said, this might be a nice diversion to come to a party.
Yep.
And so, and be surrounded by people, caring people. And Syed Mohammed Rahil Fazal. Yep. And that's my way of pronouncing it. He may have a different way. And if he does, he wins. He's saying, isn't everything God led? That's amazing. So just, you are being championed. Do you know Syed? It sounded like you knew Joe.
No, I don't know either one of them, but I'm happy to connect with anybody, and I'm happy to talk to anybody about, Odessa Connect or caregiver resources or anything. I know a lot about caregiving and caregiving resources, but, Odessa Connect is really an incredible tool. We've started doing some strategic partnerships with companies. We have an amazing revenue sharing program with a lot of companies so that we can offer. And it's just, to me, I love it because of the fact that we can make the communication so much easier, because at the end of the day, technology is not seniors' friends. It's not their friend. And, as we age, we're like, okay, call the grandkid to connect everything, because I don't know and I don't understand, but the grandkids are going to remember. Well, literally, like I say, this tool, it comes in a small little box, and you literally just get the box and the remote. And I literally was able to connect it within like 10 minutes. I mean, it was very, very simple, very, very easy installation. And it makes it to where, like I say, if you are the caregiver, no matter where you are and where your loved one is, even if your loved one's on the other side of the planet, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're still going to be able to, you can video call them 3 times a day, and you can send them all kinds of reminders. Remember to take your medication. Remember you got your doctor appointment tomorrow. You can hook up their doctor with your person and make it to where they can, do a telehealth conference or whatever. I mean, and we're about to make it to where we can actually do a 3-way. So if the doctor needed to be on there, the patient needed to be on there, and the caregiver needed to be on there, all 3 could be on there all at the same time, so that, because I got to where with my mom, I had to go to the doctor with her. She would forget the questions to ask or forget the answers or both. And so I needed to be there to ask the questions and to be able to hear the answers. And so we're about to be able to have it to where all 3 of them can be on the call, so everybody can hear and everybody can listen.
This is completely off topic because I think I'm so party minded right now. I'm just like, okay, so do we all have earrings in? I definitely, Tracy, I saw hers right away. And you've got some too. These were made by a lady in the town where we used to live. And she pours it, they're bottles. Sorry, I am getting out of range here. So they are actually bottles, and they have cork tops. And she pours this liquid plastic into it, and it is, when I go out in the sun, it's almost rainbow, and I call it Love Potion number 9, from an old song, or not that old. I mean, as you continue in life, things aren't as old as they used to be, or something like that. But adults who are getting married or getting their first jobs or going off to college, I'm like, they're not old enough. I just a really different perspective. But hearts to you, Tracy. And I'm so grateful that these people responded to you while you were talking. And when you talk about the different color buttons, and you did say disability.
Yeah.
So a person, wow, I saw one of those videos just the other day. A person was being interviewed, and they showed me the interview because the other person being interviewed has used a wheelchair since they were old enough to operate it.
Yeah.
And that person is looking forward to independence. That person's parents are looking forward to going, there will be a place for our beautiful adult child where someone will know if something has gone awry, and she's not able to do the manipulation to change the temperature, whatever it might be. And so when there's any kind of sight impairment, I'm thinking of this one situation. There's a bit of sight impairment. Fingers are not shaped for easy pressing. We know how tiny those little buttons are on all those.
And the buttons on our remote are much bigger. They're
and then the color coordinations, like all I need to really see is the darker one over here, and the frustration level goes down, and the making your own decisions becomes open. And hey, mom and dad, I'm doing great at my new place where I live independently, but I know that in a moment I can ask for help. And like that person said, because of my situation, it is hard to make friends, and to know that they can go out. It was not, easy for my heart to see that this person has been waiting for years for their own independence. It wasn't easy for my heart to hear these parents who are saying, we're going to have an expiration date, and we don't like the idea of a future for our person institutionalized. We want them to have friends. They go out down the hall. I'm done with friends. I go back into my apartment. But that it's also affordable. And that is the big, big thing. So I'm just so grateful. Hey, Lisa, you started our conversation. The word hot flash, I think, popped in, and I would love for myself, for Star Tracy, Tracy Shannon, to get to know you a little better before an event occurs between the two of you, and also for Tracy Lamb to just enjoy getting to know you. So, Lisa, is it Fevic?
Yes. Close
Wonderful.
enough.
Please, we would love to know more about you.
Well, first, thanks for having me. I think GALentines is such a very cool idea. As women, we need to celebrate more. And I think this is just a wonderful thing to do. My condolences to you, Tracy. I think to be here celebrating with us, it just shows your resilience. And I think that is just so powerful and inspirational to the rest of us. So thank you for being here. And I'm seeing my friends in the comments. I did send out the events to my friends. They're no longer connections. So hi, Joni. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Margaret. Lovely to see you all.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
yeah, because I think as women, we really do need to celebrate every opportunity we get. So my name is Lisa Favec. I'm a dietitian, educator, author, and transformation coach. I focus on women's health issues, but my specialty is on menopause. So taking you from premenopause all the way to postmenopause, because we don't talk enough about that journey and what we experience. And in some cultures, it's still very taboo to talk about women's health issues. I'm from the Caribbean. I live in Trinidad and Tobago, and we still don't talk about it enough. We don't have enough research on how menopause affects Black populations and brown populations and even mixed populations. In the Caribbean, we're very mixed. Highlander, and another friend of mine. Um, so I take every opportunity to really bring awareness and advocate for women's health issues, but really focus on menopause, because I think we talk about pregnancy, we talk about puberty, but we hardly talk about menopause. And as we were saying backstage, we're in postmenopause till we die. So you can be in your 70s and 80s and still experiencing menopausal symptoms. There are over 100 symptoms you can experience along your journey. So it's not just hot flashes, it's not just physical symptoms, it's mental, it's emotional. And you were talking about, well, the show is about aspects of age, and we were talking about aging parents. So we as women, where we have our full-time jobs, but we have to now take care of aging parents, take care of our kids. Maybe they're going off to college and we have emptiness syndrome. We're taking care of our partner, and then we still have work issues and how we interact with colleagues and friends. And most of the time we put ourselves last, and then we have those hormones to deal with. And many of my clients, they feel like they're drowning in symptoms. We already have to, cope with aging and our skin getting wrinkly and our hair getting gray, and we don't feel confident anymore. And then those hormonal issues on top of that. So I really dedicate my life and my passion to bringing that awareness, bringing that education, but really just supporting women along that journey so that they get back their quality of life and they really thrive and they find moments to celebrate. I really think this celebration, I think when men achieve something, they go to the bar and they have a drink, they have that celebration attitude kind of built into them. And with us, no, we have to go home and wash a load of laundry, and we have to cook, and we'll go to the spa someday, and we maybe get time to do a manicure, and it's always a rush to get back to helping others and supporting others. So I really want to celebrate what you're doing today. It's a small thing, but it's so impactful, and I think more people need to get on to this Galentine's Day train and just go out with your girlfriends and celebrate and just be happy of being a woman.
Oh, I'm thrilled to acknowledge all these people, because I'm of the opinion that you are a remarkable person when others are always remarking about, they're saying something about you, they're reaching out to you, they're pointing and saying, you ought to get to know this person. I'm so glad I did. And so of course we have Joni H, who's already ordering it, Tracy. My goodness, did you get click, blink? And yes, how wonderful that you were resilient enough to come today. You are helping people again. Then we have Linda Meyer. I'm going in reverse order. So I don't know if Tracy Lamb said, what I really want to do today is meet a lady from Trinidad, Tobago. Am I saying that right?
Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago,
Yeah.
who's got a friend in Ontario, Canada, who is going to come in and say hello to us today. Thank you, Linda Meyer. And then we have Margaret Martinez saying happy Monday. And it
Another
is
powerhouse of a woman. Yeah.
another person that is remarking about you, and she too is another remarkable person. We have Leslie Flowers. She goes, Boomer here, which is really funny. My husband is younger than I am, and he was kind of reanalyzing us the other day, the difference between a rule follower who also, he had a word for it that is going to escape me right now, but that I'm a rule follower because I don't want to appear unlawful. I'm not worried about being illegal, but I don't want to look like a person that you can't rely upon.
Yeah.
But I've got the machete out and I am cutting through and making a new path, because yes, maybe there are paths, but this seems like the better direction to go. So I follow the rules, but not necessarily the conventions. That was it. He says, conventions of society. And you seem to be already trotting off in another direction, higher, wetter, more dazzling something. And I consider that a compliment. So Leslie, boomer, am I a boomer or am I a generation something else? I don't know. Good luck trying to categorize me. Wow. So I'm just so glad. Let's see. No, I am a male and I'm 53. In just a moment, we're going to hear from Star Tracy. And I know that she says, guys need to hear this too. So, and look, now we have Natalie Thomas. Boy, no one is slowing down here. They are reaching.
Hi, Natalie.
Christine, that's because, Christine, you're the pebble, and look at all the ripples that are happening. You just said it because we have a new friend from Trinidad and Tobago who has just brought someone from Ontario, Canada. This is a worldwide thing. These are ripples. I told you were a pebble.
I can't
this is great.
skip a pebble across the pond.
You
to
don't
save
have
my
to.
life. But
You
man,
are one. You're not casting one. You are it. And look at the ripples you have made across the world in just the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, Tracy she's a person reader, and she told me that I'm a slow burn, meaning if it takes years for this to happen, I'm still working on it. I'm not going to give up after a couple of weeks and go, nobody gets my vision. Drop it. It's like, nope, still working on it. So Natalie Thomas, hi, Christine, Lisa Tracy, and Star, with lots and lots of wonderful pictures attached to it. Hello to everyone. Let's see, Chicago and Omaha. Oh my goodness, we are just having fun today. I'm just going to ask, that was the one, I got it now. There is something that you say that uses the word menopause that twists it just enough so that it's a pattern interrupt in the way that you express menopausal people, or the natural process of menopause, and it's different. What is it, my dear?
Is it metamorphosis? Is that the word you're referring to?
Metamorphosis. Oh my goodness. Are you the one that said, which one of you told me recently? It was her?
It was she.
That inside that chrysalis.
Do you mean, about the butterfly?
Yes. Yeah. That it turns to goo.
Yeah, a butterfly. It actually, a butterfly, when the caterpillar goes in to its chrysalis, it doesn't change. It actually dies. And the butterfly is an entirely new creature. I just learned that last month. And I don't know why, but that was life-changing to me. You know, when something just hits you, and, you know, maybe I was told that in biology and, you know, ninth grade, and I just forgot it. But I just somehow the fact that it didn't just change, but it was more like a phoenix that
Yeah.
it actually dies, and the goo creates an entirely new creature, and the butterfly is a God's new creature. It's something else. The caterpillar has lived its life. It has died. It was a good thing, but it's gone. And the butterfly is not just different, it is new. So when you go through your metamorphosis, you should consider yourself a new creature. You can let go whatever was the caterpillar. You don't have to think of yourself, oh, I changed. It's done. It's dead. It's gone. You are now an entirely new thing. And so those wings are not weighed down by whatever the caterpillar was, because the caterpillar lived its life. This is something new. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It like really shook the core of who I was to learn that caterpillar died.
This
Yeah, that's
applies
exactly how
to
I describe it. So,
everything. Yes. Lisa, if your menopause has turned you to goo, that means that who you were had its purpose. This is what metamorphosis is like. You don't have to fear it. You don't have, I know that it seems like you need to lower your voice and say, well, I think I'm in menopause. You know, it's almost a shame thing. I don't want to, you know, I don't, this is, I'm having this difficulty. If you, like Tracy Lamb, have been a caregiver, oh my goodness, I have been on screen and face to face with so many people who have lived the caregiver life. And then there's this part where you're just like, I'm in this new limbo. Whether it's divorce, whether it's you've just become a widow, whether your lifelong passion has removed itself from you, or you removed yourself, retirement, people who are just suddenly, I need a tether. I need an air hose. Why is this so weird and hard? And it's like, that's the goose stage. And there is something more. You will be new at the end. Okay. Enough of that. Wow. Okay. So Joe is just giving us a whole thing on caterpillars inside the chrysalis. I see now that Natalie, she's got the flag of Great Britain. So this is about as international as it's going to be. We can still see you, Star Tracy. So Star, what are you about? I know a bit, but I will always learn something new as you feel that you can share.
Okay. Well, I actually just wrote a post based on the song, the Who Are You? Who are you? Because it inspired me, because I am always changing. And I think we're supposed to be maybe newly inspired by the butterfly. But I am called Star Tracy because I realized in my late 30s that this was the life, and I needed to stop waiting on the plans I made it as a youth that weren't coming out the way I thought they were supposed to. And I had a really good life right in front of me that I was missing because I was an actress, and a lot of people that I went to school with were household names. And so I thought that I did something wrong, even though I had these beautiful people in front of me who loved me and thought I was amazing. And I was missing it. So I slowly started finding ways to star in my own life. And that became my mission for myself, and I started sharing it. And eventually I realized that my mission was to help others star in their own life, because I think our society is too fixated on everything being big. If you're not the CEO or the star, if you don't have, I used to say millions, these days, if you don't have billions, then you're not doing anything. And that's just not right. We all are here for a purpose, or we wouldn't be here. I just don't think that there is a single human that has been created that can't be happy and productive and fulfilling and just marvelous and starring in lots of gazillion little ways that will fulfill themselves and make this world a more positive, beautiful place. And so all of those things became Star Tracy. Well, Star Tracy a couple of years ago started focusing on teaching those little positive things. And I was in kind of a mastermind group with a shared friend with Christine named Cami Halsa. And also she's a friend with Scott's too. And one of those members, we were working it, and I shared my philosophy that if we all threw a pebble of positivity into the sea, we could turn the tide on negativity. And I was beginning a YouTube show, but I didn't know what to do with anything. And he's like, just call it the pebble, Tracy. That's what it is. It's a pebble. So thus became the Pebble, which is my main YouTube show, where I ask people, and trust me, Tracy and Lisa, you would be amazing for it. Both Christine and Scott have been guests, where you share your passion. And your passion can be what your profession is. Sometimes it's not. It's whatever fulfills you. Because I believe if you are doing what fulfills you, then you are making the world a better place, honestly, because you walk into the world better. And when you walk into the world better, you treat people better. And that can't help but make them travel, even if it's just the tiniest bit. Everywhere they go, they will be the tiniest bit better, which will make people, even if it's a fraction of the tiniest bit better, it just makes everything better. I just 1,000 gazillion, bazillion % believe that. And those are what I call the ripples. And with that passion also becomes your mission, then, I mean, seriously, like Tracy, listening to you talk about what your life, and then somebody found you, and there's this product that, by the way, I will be talking to you because I'm about to bring my mother-in-law to live with us because of her health. And the way you can talk about this product, and it's a thing, right? And it's a product, and people would go, oh, that's something you sell, but you're not selling the product. You are selling what is how to make people's lives better.
Yeah,
exactly. And Lisa, like we all have to if you are of one particular, 51% of under the sky, right? We are going to go through this. If we are blessed enough to live a certain amount of years, then we are going to go through this. So your knowledge, you share that, and you obviously you light up well, that's the thing is we're not all meant to, sell skins or throw a football or be a CEO. I want to talk to the accountant who really loves being an accountant because we all need one. So that's a passion that makes the world better. I want to talk to the accountant who really digs being an accountant. That's the Pebble. And he or she deserves to be celebrated for being the happiest accountant in the whole wide world. So as you can see, I have zero passion about the project. I don't get excited about anything. I'm a very calm Zen person. And I'm not annoyingly nerdy about anything. I don't talk at all. That's me.
I know there's a second show besides the Pebble.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the Pebble's the main show. The second show is called The Second Talk, which would also be awesome for both of you ladies. And Christina's been on that show too, and she's a welcome guest back anytime. The Second Talk, I have to catch my breath because I do this to myself. I'm excitable. What can I tell you? The Second Talk is for those of us who have begun or are at the process or are going into it, which is my theory. Is called The Second Talk because most of us got the first talk. You know, the "Are you there, God, it's me, Margaret" moment, which is the hormones come in and mom or school or someone comes in and they tell us what to expect. We get the first talk. Where was the second talk? As I told Christine in our second talk, I didn't know I was having hot flashes, even though my doctor asked me, because mine didn't reflect anything I had ever seen on TV. I didn't have the giant big open the freezer and do this. I just thought someone needed to turn down the AC. And I'm normally cold natured. So I just thought, oh, you know, when it clicks up and you're like, would someone just lower it? Those were my hot flashes. So I didn't even know I was in menopause. Like, that's the thing is nobody talks about the fact that your menopause, a perimenopause and menopause and all of that might not look like someone else's. So I want to talk about it, especially for perimenopause, because it goes on a while and we don't talk about it. So clearly I'm the girl that will talk. And so I thought I will be the girl who will go on YouTube and be the dork and will get other people to talk about it until we really start normalizing this, because I have a daughter and I don't want her to feel this way in 20, 30 years. I want her to have had the mom that said, what are you feeling? You know, is something hot? Is something itchy? Does something not feel right? I want her to know, yeah, you might be in it. Go talk to your doctor. And if your doctor doesn't know about it, because unlike our lovely Lisa here, a lot of them have like 0 studies on it. So that's what I want too. And I want experts, and I also want other gals. And hopefully I'd love like this, like a forum. So far it's been like one-on-one, but I'd love more and to get like this, because this is so much fun. And I'm going to shut up now.
Oh my goodness. So Tracy, you have created an informative and entertaining and it's okay place for every, I'm going to say young, you can put on it any number, what you think it might be, but for every young woman who had a man look at her and say, I'm your surgeon, and either you just came out of surgery or you are about to go into surgery, and we're going to have to remove everything from you, and you will go into a medical instant menopause. And if you don't have a mom like Lisa who already goes, okay, we got this. We're going to get informed so that you don't feel like you're losing your mind at the same time that you are losing part of you that you've had since you started forming in my womb. If you don't have that person with you and you are finding out, I just had this surgery because it was a life-saving surgery because I was bleeding internally because of endometriosis, and they had to basically do this to save my life, or they're about to do it to me. And so now I'm prepping for this surgery. And A man just told me, you're going to hit menopause and it's going to be really hard on you. Once again, the floating, where's my air hose? Where's my tether? You know,
and the emotional costs, like Lisa was mentioning it, the physical is just the beginning. The changes that happen to you, and the fact that what I really wanted to start about it was when I grew up, my biggest knowledge about menopause, honestly, was the Golden Girls. And I don't see God bless them. I love the show. It's fun, snarky humor at its best. Okay, let's be honest. I mean, B. Arthur was the queen, but I still feel cute and sexy, and I am no dried up lady. And all of this imagery of like somehow, Harrison Ford gets to still be sexy in a Jeep commercial at a Super Bowl last night in his 80s, like late 80s, married to Calista Flockhart. And when Calista Flockhart gets seen with him, and she is hot as heck in her 50s, and they comment on her looks, but he is still like the hot one. And I just like, listen, we are not dried up. Just because we don't produce babies anymore does not affect our ability to be women. But we do have to redirect what it is to be a woman, and that sexuality could be separate from creating children. And all of those conversations need to happen in respectful ways. And aging, we have to review what it is to be aging, both women and men, and that we're allowed to talk about these things, and they're not gross, and they're not like, oh, we're not supposed to talk about those things, because we need to, especially as women, because we have been cartooned. Men have been allowed to age and then get rid of women as they age and have more and more age differential by society. I'm not saying this is like all men by any ways. I'm just saying society has accepted this. And we as women have the right to say we are still valuable. We are still full. We still have so much to offer. Just because a feature of our body is finished does not mean that there is not so much still available. Like, I loved giving birth. Well, not that part, actually. I did not love being pregnant, giving birth. I loved producing my children. I love raising my children. But I am actually now like, okay, they're going to be alive. And I get to go do other things now, like this empty nester's nervousness, and there's some sadness, yes, but also I'm like, my husband and I are going to have some things we can do. I'm like looking forward to being a speaker and maybe returning to the stage, things that were not possible as a mother. I am not less valuable. Christine, you're kicking ass here. Hey,
I better take this opportunity to say, I better try to enunciate so that you know what I'm saying. In a few days, I have a birthday, and it is my 65th birthday. I made it.
That's amazing.
I'm there. I am already on Medicare. I've got my stuff. I got to talk with this gal. It worked out nicely because she's female. She is just only 6 years behind me. She knows her stuff. And that's her job, is to talk with people about getting onto Medicare. And it was great because she said, in my situation, it's different, but these are the things that we have in common. And I'm like, what would you do? And it was like, I would actually think this, because in a year from now, if you're like, oh, I'm not sure that was the right, because you're trying to imagine, will I be healthy? Am I going to start taking medications? Will I be living here? Will I be living? There's just a lot of you're just trying to figure it out. You're trying to guess. It's a crapshoot. And she was able to give me the odds of rolling the dice the right direction on my decisions on, part A, part B, part D. What in the world is part C? You got your advantage plan. You got the other one that was the one I chose. I can't think of right now, and all this, paperwork, all this. So I feel like, I'm at this point where I get it. I get the excitement of, well, what is next? Because I'm actually looking into my future as I'm choosing Medicare. And it's like, what are some of the things that I can determine about my future? Very quickly, as we are in our last 4 minutes, I will say, and Lisa, this is just for you. You can use it as an example. I turned to my husband. I am 39 years old. And I said, oh, cute. Thanks, Joe. She's been listening while we've been talking about our names and everything else. I turned to my husband. I said, take me to a psychiatrist. I am going to throw one of the children. I do not know what's wrong with me. And then a few minutes later, I was like, everything's funny. Tell me more junior high locker room stuff because it's making me giggle. And then I would turn into, why even try? What difference does anything make? I was swinging. My pendulum wasn't going back and forth. It was going all different directions. What is wrong with me? And my body had just stopped producing hormones just almost instantly. And he made a wise decision. He said, let's go to your doctor first. And my doctor, a female, not that much younger than I was 39, said, it cannot be menopause. You're too young. I'm thinking it's thyroid. I said, can I please have both tests? Okay, but I'm telling you and I said, the one thing is that I'm actually timing when I'm aware that I have become irrational in one way or another, I'm timing it. And my fingers are getting tingly, maybe down in my feet too. And so the response was, well, your thyroid is just fine. And you have no hormones. What in the world? Kind of a situation. So I thought I was losing it. Not just I'm upset for a few weeks. I thought there is something really wrong with me. I'm going to hurt someone.
But it's
and I
good
don't
that
want to.
It's good that you had a supportive partner.
Yes.
That listened and said, okay, I'm going to support you. Many women don't have that option, but I'm not surprised by what the doctor told you. Many doctors, because I was in my 30s when I started my journey, I was told the same thing, right? Which is why I'm so passionate about talking about this, because many doctors, and it's not their fault, it's the system. They are not trained in menopause. They have to specialize in it. So this is why we need to have these conversations and keep that awareness and keep that education going, because your story is the exact same story of thousands and thousands of women, but they don't get that support. They don't get answers. They think they're going crazy, and then they start considering committing suicide. And that's what's scary to me. The suicide rates in menopause at 40s, 50s, 60s, it goes up because we don't get that support. But I'm thankful you had a partner that really supported you and listened, just listened. That's amazing.
And information makes a huge difference. Once I knew the word of what was going on, once it was validated, I was validated, it was verified. It's like, okay, endure. Do not act upon your thoughts at this moment. Endure, and then it would pass. Yeah. So Tracy Lamb, you're just sitting there with this serene smile on your face.
I'm enjoying the conversation. The reality is that we all go through it. It's something that we all go through. And, I think, you know, I love what I do. Like as far as Odessa Connect goes, I love helping people. That is my passion, is helping people. And, you know, I have a lot of empathy with people now, not only because of my past work experience, but just for what I've personally gone through, you know, taking care of both of my parents. So I understand it, and I, you know, I completely understand about, you know, being a woman and going through menopause and all that kind of stuff, because I'm right there too. So, you know, it's very real.
Yeah.
I think we should get back together again on the second talk. I think this would be a fun.
Let's get the band back together again. Yeah. My husband's going to put this neat thing across the screen. We're going to keep talking for a few seconds, but he's going to put this little doodad across the screen because we're at that point. We've
It was
hit
awesome. Thank you so
an
much.
hour.
Thank you.
An hour. A whole hour. Lisa, amazing. Star Tracy.
Thank you.
We loved your energy. It buoys everyone up. Tracy Lamb, you have found people who go, that's the product. And I'm so glad that that product found you.